What's going on, YouTube? This is Wawa Echo. My name is Zach, and I'm glad to see you here again for the Smackdown Survey for January 9th of 2018, where I go through Smackdown live and give the good parts an up and the bad parts a down. And this week was pretty satisfactory, I guess, and that's probably the best way to describe it. It really revolved around just one storyline that's continuing, and I don't I'm not very excited about it yet. Like there's nothing that's really made me invest in it. But there were a few things of the night that I really kind of enjoyed here and there. But it overall was just satisfactory. That's about it. Exceptional maybe. But let's get right into it. SmackDown opened a little bit differently this week because usually we see an authority figure come out and cut a promo, or we'll see a superstar, sometimes AJ Styles, come out and cut a promo, and then is interrupted by an authority figure. And while we sort of had that happen, we did have several minutes of Renee Young interviewing AJ Styles about the match at the Royal Rumble and about his chances, his likelihood of retaining the title. I love the confidence from AJ Styles. I love how he shoots a promo. I just enjoy his work. But then he was interrupted by, of course, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And they come out talking about how they're going to be co-champions after the Royal Rumble, and just whatever they're gonna beat the crap out of AJ Styles. The same crap they spew out every week. But then Shane McMahon comes out and he says, "Well, if Daniel Bryan wants to book a handicap match for the Royal Rumble, then I'm going to do that for tonight." And so the main event is made for Shinsuke Nakamura, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles to take on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So I know that this announcement sort of builds up the tension between he and Daniel Bryan. But I'm getting kind of tired of the same people being in the main event scene. And of course, I kind of know what's going to happen because SmackDown is really lacking main event stars. But at the same time, you do have several people who are very over with the crowd that I feel like could make main event. And with Raw, especially, you do have a little bit of changes. Every week we have most nights, end with the Shield or something, of that sort. But there are some nights where it's completely different, and I like that. But with SmackDown, we get the same crap, and I think I looked at at least since the end of November, we've had any sort of combination of these four men in the main event scene. With the exception of one week, we had Jinder Mahal there too, and I'm glad he's out. But anyway, so it's getting kind of tedious and boring. But overall, I'm going to give this segment an up, simply because I did enjoy the interview. And I guess I'm okay with them increasing the tension between the two authority figures by making the main event a handicap match. That's okay with me. But the first match of the night that we'll talk about is Ruby Riott versus Becky Lynch. And one thing I found interesting about this is that at first, whenever the Riott Squad debuted, and of course they attacked Lynch first, I thought this was going to set up for a big match between Ruby Riott and Becky Lynch, or at least something of that sort. But this seems kind of anticlimactic, kind of random. I'm glad to see Lynch back. I gave that an up last week, of course, and so I'm glad to see her back wrestling again tonight. However, the match was okay. Like it wasn't as boring as most of the women's matches on SmackDown. But it did have some good back and forth action. It does show why Ruby Riott is the leader of the Riott Squad, simply because while she's not like fantastic in the ring, at least now that she hasn't really had a chance to showcase much. Compared to the other two, she seems more fluid and just more able to go in the ring. And her and Becky Lynch seem to have some good chemistry in the ring. So and then there was very little interference. And I will say this though, I do think. I did say last week that I think the Riot Squad should be a little more dominating, because at this point they've lost their credibility, in my eyes, in my opinion. So giving the win, especially by submission, to Becky Lynch, with no outside interference at all, is a little weird to me. But I'm not upset at it. I do think that Becky Lynch deserves it, and it was a decent match. So I'm going to give this match an up. I just wish it could have been better. But Next is a segment I want to talk about in which I didn't give an up or a down, but I just thought this was really funny. It had me laughing, and I almost gave it an up because of how much it had me laughing. But we saw a clip where Becky Lynch was signing autographs for fans, and I thought this guy was standing in line and he was shouting at the Usos, and he said, "Ooh, there's Usos and Naomi," and like he was like, "Ooh, so ooh," like he was saying it to himself, and I found it just completely hilarious. But I figured something was up, especially whenever he came up to Becky Lynch and she asked if he wanted an autograph right there in the book, and he said, "No, I don't want an autograph." And she was like, "You don't like no." And then as soon as I like really looked before he really revealed his identity, I figured out who it was. And sure enough, he took off the wig or the hat or whatever he had on and the beard and revealed himself as Sami Zayn. And they're gonna be teamed up. I really loved they're gonna be teamed up for the mixed match challenge, which I'm still not completely bought into yet, especially with the pairing, which I'll talk about later because there is another segment like this later on. But I did like this announcement. It was kind of unique, and they were both excited to be paired together, and their energy kind of flows well. And so I'm enjoying that. I didn't give an up or down for this. I just wanted to talk about it because it is a part of SmackDown that I did enjoy. But moving on, we have the Ascension facing off against the Bludgeon Brothers, and this was an absolute squash match. But I'm glad that they. This is what I was talking about last week. This is what I really wanted to see from a Bludgeon Brothers match is where I think it was Connor or one of the two Ascension or no, both of them started attacking Luke Harper when as soon as the bell rang, and they attacked him, and it looked like it just made them so mad that's why it was a squash match. Like I'm okay with there being squash matches, but this was how I feel like it should have been done, or at least it should be done. Kind of now is that they get some sort of their opponents get some sort of offense, make the Bludgeon Brothers like really ticked off, and have them just kill their opponents, and it was good. So I really enjoyed the way they did this. I obviously don't really care much about the Ascension, and I haven't since they debuted on SmackDown. This was like a long time ago. Um, and I'm not really I'm just intrigued to see what they do with the Bludgeon Brothers. But for now, this match gets an up because basically this is how I think it should have been booked to begin with. And then the next match is the United States Championship Tournament match between Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. I will say this is better than their first match because their first match absolutely sucked. It was boring, and it saw Mojo Rawley take the victory pretty much in a squash match himself. But this had some back and forth action. However, it wasn't great, and I don't really care to see these two in the ring. I don't really think either one of them should be in the United States tournament, especially since that's two spots that I think neither one of them should have. If you don't include Jinder Mahal's spot, that I think someone else should have had. But I just like I'm not interested at all. I didn't wasn't looking forward to the match, and now I'm just glad it's over and we can get that out of the way. And while I'm not a huge fan of Bobby Roode, I do hope that he defeats Mojo next week or whenever their match is. And that's just I hope that Mojo goes away. Maybe we'll see better from him, but honestly, like all he does in the ring is just throw some forearms and talk to his opponent. Kind of annoying. So this match gets a down, and we're about halfway through the show, and this is our first down. So I'm actually intrigued at this. And now I want to talk about another segment that was much like the segment I talked about earlier, where I don't give an up or a down, but I did want to talk about this. Nakamura was revealed as teaming with Natalia for the mixed match challenge, and they did this by Natalia taking selfies, but like it was kind of dark, so when the flash hit, like she realized Nakamura was standing right there, and the reason why I love this so much is because Nakamura is so good. He comes in and all weird and does his weird smile. It's so fantastic. And then he comes in and he just says meow, and it's hilarious. Like I love Nakamura, and he says a couple other things, and then he ends it with another meow, and it's just fantastic. I love Nakamura. while I think that he could be used better properly, he is absolutely invested in this character, or maybe he is not just invested, but maybe he is that weird. But anyway, the one thing I wanted to say earlier though is that I'm not really like intrigued in this challenge thing yet because of the pairings that they have. Some of the pairings are like very good, but I don't get much of the heel face dynamic there. Like I don't get why they're pairing those two up. But I guess we'll see how that plays out. I guess that's something that will make me tune in, or at least make me see the results of. I don't know. We'll see about that. But again, this segment doesn't get an up or a down. But I did want to mention it because I also enjoyed this segment as well. Uh, our next match it's not a match, it's a segment. Uh, Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin came out and they demanded justice for being robbed of the tag titles. Now, this was a complicated segment because I was so like I didn't know how to feel about the segment during the whole thing. First off, I'm going to give a down to just the characters. No one's really invested in these, and you could tell the crowd was like so dead until they mentioned uh, the uh, the University of Alabama winning the national championship. That was pretty much all they really reacted to. And Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable were they were trying to get heat from the crowd, and they were trying to down them and trying to do everything that they could. To at least get some sort of reaction, and this was a very heel promo, typical heel promo from them, and so I'm just gonna give it down because like I'm not really invested in their characters, and honestly, like I wish it was other people in the tag title picture, but they're fantastic in the ring, and I love watching their matches. So yeah, I'm still gonna tune in to see them wrestle. They're really good wrestlers, but I am gonna give an up to the fact that they really had a reason to be out there demanding justice. The more I thought about it, the more stupid they've booked this because um, they pinned an Uso. And like I said this for last week's SmackDown, but they pinned an Uso almost fair and square. It just wasn't the legal man. Usually, if it's not the legal man, it's because they're doing something that's actually illegal in the match. But honestly, like they just didn't pin the right person, and the wrong person pinned the wrong person. And I get that, like that's part of the rules. But at the same time, it was a legitimate way of victory. They didn't cheat, they just did their double team move and pinned an Uso. And I think that while that didn't diminish the Usos' credibility because of the fact that they are the best there is, uh, it still was kind of stupid to have them pick up that and then lose the match following. But they did make very good points. Also, another point that really bothers me is that when else in history have you ever seen the instant replay be used to overturn a decision? And I get that. I mean, they've done it before. I'm not saying they haven't ever done it before. But even over bullcrap calls and incorrect calls or illegal moves, there's never instant replay. It's always, well, we'll figure this out next week, and then the consequences will be dished out then. But instead, the second referee came out and got put his nose in that business. Whatever, like I don't know. Like I think that they are out there with the right reasons because they did sort of get screwed over. Uh, I mean, but I'm not. I don't care. Like I don't want to see them be champions. And maybe they'll be good champions. I don't know. But kind of, I've been talking with Parker about the tag team title picture. Um, and we've been saying like he says that Gable and Benjamin would make great champions and that they should be, but I kind of disagree. Like I kind of agree because they're them, but I disagree because I feel like whoever should take the titles from the Usos should be very over or at least very heel like and have a bunch of heat. But either way, be over, have that connection to the crowd, and it should be a well, I was about to say magnormous. I don't think that's a word. It should be an enormous event that because the Usos are the top of the food chain in tag team wrestling, they are the top, and not just because they're champions, but because they are the best. They're the best on the mic. They're the best in the ring. Fantastic teamwork. I mean, it's just all around. to have someone defeat them should be a huge thing. And I don't know if this would mean the title change at the Royal Rumble, but Daniel Bryan did come out and make the title match at the Royal Rumble, a 2 out of 3 falls match. So I'll be interested to see where this goes, and maybe they do win the titles at Rumble. Honestly, I'm not going to be upset either way at the result itself, as long as it's just a good match. Like that's really what I want, and what I'm sure won't be disappointing. But finally, onto our main event, we have the handicap match pitting Nakamura, Styles, and Owens, Orton, not Owens, against Owens and Sami Zayn. And again, it's kind of getting boring, a little tedious, seeing the same things on in the main event. And so this match had some back and forth action. It was pretty good, I guess. And then Owens and Zayn decide they're gonna leave. They're gonna walk up the ramp and leave, and then Shane McMahon comes out and makes it a no count outs, whatever, no count out match. And so then Kevin Owens eventually, they kind of wrestle some back and forth, and then Kevin Owens hits Randy Orton with a steel chair, and then hits AJ Styles with the chair, and then. They're about to leave again, but then Shane McMahon comes out again and says this is no DQ, no count out, anything goes. And so AJ Styles actually chases Kevin Owens back with the chair, and leaving Nakamura and Owens against Sami Zayn. And I like the teamwork between Nakamura and Orton. I think it's very good. I think they're constantly on the same page. They work very well together. It's kind of an odd, unexpected kind of teamwork thing, but I'm glad they do it. And I just like how they kind of just killed Zayn there at the end. But they did pick up the victory. Orton picked up the victory for the faces, leaving this match with Owens and Zayn taking the pinfall loss. And so we'll see if that is the same fate when those two face Styles at the Royal Rumble. But for now, this handicap match gets an up, and we end SmackDown with an up. And ups are looking pretty good, 5-2 this week. Like I said, even though it's 5-2, it was still just kind of satisfactory. Like all of the good things about SmackDown was they weren't like so exciting and like didn't just blow me back like Raw has been doing lately. I mean, have you seen Braun Strowman? But I do still very much enjoy the likes of uh, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Their sort of heel personas. I love Styles. Orton and Nakamura, I really enjoy. And the Bludgeon Brothers, I'm still kind of growing on. Like, we'll just see where that goes from there. But that's SmackDown of January 9th, 2018. Let me know in the comments if there are parts that you agree with or disagree with, or maybe something I missed that you would like to talk about. Leave those in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button because we have plenty of content coming out, hopefully within the next week or two. And of course, as always, every week we have the Raw Rundown where Parker does the same things that we did here on SmackDown, but for Raw. And I do the SmackDown Survey every week. And then of course we have the Royal Rumble coming up. We'll have all of our pay-per-view videos. And we have some extra special videos coming up really soon as well. So hit that subscribe button. Don't miss a thing. Comment below about this video, whatever you want to discuss. Hit the like button. We really appreciate it. But with that, I'm out, guys. We'll see you next week. This has been Wawa Echo. My name is Zach. Peace.